Hey guys, and welcome back to Banjo-Kazooie. I've put it off for long enough, but it's time to take on Rusty Bucket Bay. Take a look at it. Drink it in, guys.
It looks miserable.
Do I want to drink it? I don't like that water.
Gruntilda's magic is affecting the ship. Don't know what it is about, like, bridges and rails, but the emulator fucking hates it. Anyway, Helldragon, gotta turn to you first. You've heard the horror stories about the Rusty Bucket, haven't you?
Well, I've heard a few things here and there. Apparently with Rusty Bucket's horrible case of tetanus is possible. I've heard that this is, again, the least popular level in this game. It looks like shit. It really does, and I suppose that's the point, but at the same time, it's a metaphorical looks like shit.
Yeah, that water is so poisonous, you can drown on the surface.
How's that even possible?
Gruntilda polluted this place good and proper, that's her.
And also she gave it this kind of hideous music that's just jaunting along to just taunt you the entire way through.
It's halfway between farts and terror.
Yeah, I'm fixing to say it's like a jaunting fart tune, you know?
Keep collecting those Mumbo tokens. The next level, the final one, is going to require a hefty 25. I'm not sure I show it off here. You can barely see what it says on... I think it's... Which one is the stern, Richie? Is it the front or the back of the ship?
5 seconds.
Googly boogly! That's the magic spell to reveal all kinds of information.
The stern is the back of a ship.
Good. I'm glad he looked that up.
Okay, well, if you look on the stern of the Rusty Bucket, you can see the words Twycross, England.
Aww.
Where Rareware is based. And now you know.
And knowledge is half the battle.
Speaking of knowledge, took me a fair while to root Rusty Bucket. Probably the second hardest one to do in the game. Mostly because it's really fucking hard. Mad Monster Mansion is just so big. This one's actually kind of linear. I mean, there's like secret bits, like window-wise on the outside of the Rusty Bucket. But it's mostly figuring out how not to die. You know, trying to do everything in one fell swoop that took such a long time for me to record.
I suppose it's one of those things that you have to work yourself up to, really. And then it's just like, I don't want to do it, and then it's kind of just like, well, it's a bit late now, I have to.
Hope you made note of that number string back there, because you're going to need to apply it here.
I thought it was kind of maybe a potentially slightly pointless number, that was like, you know, the A113 in like all the Disney and Pixar films.
Oh, that's not pointless. It's not pointless. It's very close to their hearts.
Yeah, but I was wondering if it was like one of those sorts of numbers, like sticking Twycross, England, on Rusty Bucket's ship.
Very cool, actually. Wonderful little bit of game design. If the Banjo-Wiki is to be believed, when doing the whistle puzzle, the level's music changes to a version which has no whistle sounds, as to not add any confusion in the memorization of the puzzle's whistle sounds.
Oh, that's actually really nice of him.
I kind of like this level's theme. Just, you know, it adds to the dickishness of the level. That's all I really have to say about Rusty Bucket. It is literally my least favourite level in the game. For all the shit I can give Mad Monster Mansion for being just tricky to get around, it has, you know, wonderful ambience, and the cute little pumpkin which bounces around. This one has no Mumbo transformation, so it doesn't get off as easily.
I'm fixing to say, like, I was wondering, like, what a particular, kind of Mumbo transformation would be for this kind of level. Like another toilet. I mean, they mentioned you wanted to be like a washing machine at one point, so...
Ah, yes, we'll be showing off the washing machine in the extras.
Alright.
Well, in a manner of speaking, we'll be showing off. It will appear on screen, that's all I'm saying. And of course, you've got to have enemies called seamen.
Yeah, naturally. I mean, everybody's made that joke, so we might as well make it some more.
My god, guys, cover up cooking, especially in a liner of this variety.
I really don't think Gruntilda's minions really care about hygiene in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying?
Where's the Rusty Bucket meant to be going anyway? It just seems to be in the bay right now.
Well, maybe it's docked for a while? I mean, it was like, they figure Banjo was coming in, he has to explore the entire level, so they docked for a little while, you know, get some free shore leave.
Oh shit, we haven't actually got a level here. Just park the liner, it'll be fine.
Well, I mean, I suppose in a way it's similar to, I think it's Jolly Roger Bay in Mario 64.
Uh-huh.
I might be... Is that the right one I'm thinking of?
What, the one with the eel and the ship?
Probably. I mean, I'm thinking as the one with the Bowser ship.
The one with the Bowser ship? Ah, that's Dire Docks, I believe.
Dire Docks, that's the one. Yeah, it's kind of like Banjo's version of that, really, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Although, last I checked, Dire Docks doesn't have a very dickish engine room segment, and I'm just killing time until we get to that, and that's when the real vitriol will come out. Those things are called grimlets, by the way. They're nasty. Try and stay away from them. Silly thing to say, I know, since it's an enemy, but it's also one of the truly invincible enemies in the game. Wonder Wing won't work against it. Farting eggs won't work. Just leave it be.
Hello, honey. Who was that? Was it somebody we should know about?
That is a poster of Berry from Conker's Pocket Tales. However, the arcade version replaced Berry with Conker from Bad Fur Day.
What? That's kind of a weird thing to have a poster of near your bed, but alright.
And I guess they had to take out the Nintendo-related content. But funnily enough, in the Xbox Live Arcade version of Banjo, I think I brought this up in a previous part, Banjo is still playing the Game Boy.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
I don't know how they got away with that.
I suppose it was kind of one of those things where they couldn't quite easily get rid of it because Microsoft doesn't have a handheld console of their own.
That might be one of the reasons why Rare was always allowed to develop for like the Nintendo DS and Nintendo's handheld stuff.
Yeah, because no competition in the end.
It'd be awesome, though, if they replaced it with just him kind of wrestling with the Xbox controller. It's big enough, am I right?
The engine room. Oh god, this place is literally impossible if you've not already slowed down the fans and the whirling things a little bit. Oh, the bottomless pit, I'm getting the vapours.
Yeah, this just seems like a really, really horrible thing to do to someone.
Because you can very easily slip off these pipes and whatnot. You have to time everything basically to the letter, and I just find it very, very stressful. And stuff like this is why I like Rusty Bucket Bay the least out of all the levels in Banjo-Kazooie. If Treasure Trove and Freeze Easy are near the top, I would say Rusty Bucket is at the absolute bottom. It's not really a very fun level, and the next level, the final one, Click Clock Wood, is a much better way to end the game. And actually, an apt topic to bring up so we can just stop rambling for a second. This, in a lot of like platform games, would be it'd be obviously near to the end of the game, but just like the tropes and the dankness of it would be more considered a final level than anything. But when we get to Click Clock Wood, that's all bright and the sun is shining and such. So it's a very rare thing to do to have this kind of bait and switch.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I think they went with a really odd choice here because, like, normally the last levels are like the lava worlds or sort of factory world, but not quite like this. There's a certain level of mad scientist going on with most of the other final levels. Like, I mean, if you think of Eggman Land and all of that. So this, meanwhile, fitting for near the end of the game, I don't know, it just feels a little bit lifeless, I suppose, to really be a decent level design.
They kind of take this to the nth degree in the next game with Grunty Industries. That is also one of my least favourite levels. Technically very impressive, just not all that fun overall. I've obviously, told you guys before that I prefer the bright, colourful levels, so stuff like this always, even if it's a really good level, just sadly due to my prejudices, would end up on the bottom of my list. But, getting off topic here, this is by far one of the hardest jiggies to get in the game, because we're on a timer here, and you'd think that would be hard enough, but once we get to the back of the ship, I will explain why it's just that teeny bit more hard. There we go, there's that Twycross thing.
That is so cool.
Now, of course, you can get in here easily. You can get in here easy. But if you allow the fans to kick back, into gear, and you're still inside there, they will instantly kill you if you touch them.
Oh, that's good.
So you have that combined with the filthy water that's draining your air twice as fast, and you just have one big shit show, really, that combines to make a section that's both frustrating and unfun.
Yeah, I think they just thought, let's stick every single thing possible to dick over the player in this one level.
That's why I think the next level actually acts as a reward of sorts, because I can't stress enough how much I dislike Rusty Bucket, and I was happy with how my final recording turned out, but 9 times out of 10, if I had to go back to Banjo and play a level, it would not be this. Like, you can see how we're struggling to find anything positive to say about it. With Mad Monster Mansion, just finding stuff to say was kind of hard because, it's a Halloween level. Once you get past it, it's full of ghosts. It's just kind of run-of-the-mill. So, I honestly think this third of the game goes on kind of like a downward trajectory. I mean, as good as Banjo-Kazooie is, it still has, its ebbs and flows, its ups and downs. But it's not a case where, like, the highs are high and the lows are incredibly low. It's just that the lows are kind of disappointing compared to the highs.
I mean, I suppose in a way, it's almost like, because of the level tropes that they decided to go with for these later levels, they kind of screwed themselves over out of creating a quite spectacular build-up to the finish.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, this is kind of probably potentially going to stoke the fires a little bit, but I think Super Mario 64 did it better. Because, the last couple of levels were very unique and very challenging, but they weren't kind of these very dark, dismal things. You had the tick-tock clock, you had Rainbow Ride, and so on. So it was challenging, and suitably challenging, but it was also quite colourful, quite unique.
Yeah.
And so you didn't feel necessarily bad playing them, or just out of energy.
Energy is a good word, yeah.
Because I think that's what this particular level and also Mad Monster Mansion do, is because of the slightly oppressive atmosphere, because of the slightly just dullness of the visuals, you just go, don't really care.
Yeah, I start to get a little bit bored whenever I play Rusty Bucket Bay. And Mad Monster Mansion I'll give a pass, because I at least am on a little bit of a kick with regards to the whole ghosts and such, but just not a lot to talk about here. I guess we could compare it to levels in other games. Obviously, we've mentioned Jolly Roger Bay and Diodide Docks in Mario 64, but can you think of any other ocean liner levels or levels set on boats in other video games, Helldragon?
Well, I don't really have one in terms of it's an ocean liner on a boat, and I'm sure when I think of it, one will come to me. But in terms of in a more of industrial kind of area, the first level that immediately comes to mind is Metropolis Zone from Sonic 2, which I think does that concept way better and more interesting because of all the machinery you're going around in, all of the cool stuff you can interact with in that zone. I think that's done, a lot better as a whole.
The only, ship that I think of at the minute, I don't know why, I think it's just because we came out of Mad Monster Mansion, is Resident Evil Revelations.
Oh, yeah!
Because that's entirely set on a boat, from what I recall.
Is that the 3DS game that got ported a few months later?
Yes.
There were, I believe, 2 other things that were set on boats in Resident Evil. There's Resident Evil Dead Aim, I believe it's called. That was the one with, the gender flip tyrant thing, and I'm like, alright. And then there's Resident Evil Gaiden, which was a Game Boy Color game, but that, I believe, was also set on, a cruise liner.
It's also not canon, so...
Well, yeah, that's true. And it had this weird, I'm trying to explain, the combat system. It's kind of you're waiting for a icon to go over a particular part of this line, and it's a first-person view. It's really hard to explain, but it's definitely not your traditional kind of combat system for these kind of games.
If you want to, check out, Resident Evil Dead Aim, I would honestly recommend the Let's Play by The Dark Id, which is a screenshot one. Fucking hilarious. And, just in terms of, Let's Plays and whatnot, let's bring it back to Banjo for a second. Rory Lou, who did, I guess, a subtitle Let's Play of Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, which are 2 of my favourite Let's Plays ever. I think he started to do Nuts and Bolts, but he may have abandoned it. It's been a while since I've checked his stuff, and you may remember there was a short period during that 9-month hiatus we had where we briefly considered doing like subtitle Let's Plays and whatnot. Yeah, those were mostly inspired by him, and they're very funny, kind of informative Let's Plays. I'm not really sure if he does the whole Let's Play thing nowadays, but shout outs to Rory Lou, I guess.
The only other Banjo-Kazooie Let's Play, sort of, that I remember, it was like this person who was going through the game for the first time. It was like shot on shitty camcorder pointed at like the TV quality, but the fucking commentary was hilarious. Like he was just saying the goofiest fucking shit about it. I really wish I remembered who made that, because I think like Little Karibo was linking these, and they were just fucking hilarious.
I think the only Banjo run I've watched is a Versus one, which is between Attacking Toucans and Josh Jepson, which is quite funny. I mean, it's not exactly the norm of the stuff I watch, because it's very offensive humour and I guess very mature humour in a way, but there's something quite funny and charming about it, and it's just hilarious to see two people race their way through Banjo-Kazooie whilst taking the absolute ever-loving piss out of each other.
I think Cosmos ran Banjo at one point in time, and he did a really good job of it.
Probably, I mean, that guy is super speedrunner.
Yeah, I mostly remember him for like Wind Waker and whatnot, though.
Well, surely the most famous is the Ocarina of Time run, I think?
Well, there's that, but Wind Waker, you haven't lived until you've seen him literally, like, die and hover up to Gandalf's door in the Forsaken Fortress.
Oh, that is glorious.
Your ears weren't deceiving you, if you could even hear it. There is something underneath the waves. We'll be attending to it later. Say, Helldragon. You remember Snacker from Treasure Trove Cove, right?
I do.
Well, for some reason, he is in Rusty Bucket Bay. I don't know why.
Because he's stupid?
But yeah, he swam all the way from Treasure Trove Cove. In fact, if you look out past the boundaries, you can see, like, pure water and the like, so I guess he just swam it all the way here from Treasure Trove Cove.
Not sure what he's doing jumping in oily water. That's a good idea. Then he just magically vanishes like a whisper in the night.
Oh, that looks like secret stuff. I'm gonna head over to it.
I mean, I think it's perfectly fine for him to be here because, we're recording this on a certain very popular day on the internet, and one of the famous things from the thing that this day is referring to has a shark in it because of Jaws 19.
You can talk about Back to the Future. It's not so copyrighted that will get claimed by, like, who owns the copyright for Back to the Future?
I have no idea, but either
Isn't
way...
that Universal?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, don't worry, we're not going to get claimed by whoever owns Back to the Future, it's fine.
Although it was really weird, like I was watching some footage of LEGO Dimensions earlier today, and in that game, Back to the Future's in it, you fight like GLaDOS, Saruman, Daleks, and fucking General Zod, and like the DeLorean comes in to help you in some ways. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is going on here?
Daleks. Helldragon, Daleks.
Whatever.
Not Daleks.
The fucking screechy robot tube, toothpaste container things. I don't know.
Oh, 2 more and we've gotten all the honeycombs.
So we really are getting near to the end of the game now, aren't we?
Also, here's something to consider. If this hole here leads to all this filthy water, then why isn't the water in that secret room filthy as well?
That's a good point.
Grunty's magic.
Yes, indeed. When in doubt, blame the witch.
It is usually her fault. Up until this point, she's responsible for like 80% of the shit that's happening.
Oh god, there's still like 10 minutes left. Quick, think of something to say. I hate this level. Oh, thank god, a dolphin trapped. Let's help it.
What if that dolphin was like secretly a jerk and they finally trapped him to stop his reign of terror? You don't know. You're just jumping to conclusions. Oh, it's a dolphin, it's okay. Never mind the fact that dolphins like to gang up on other, sea animals or whatever and rape them in a cave.
Huh?
Apparently that's a thing they do sometimes. It may be an urban legend at this point, but still, you never know.
Ah, yes, The Legend of the Rape Cave by Helldragon. Good stuff.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't come up with it. This is what I heard, alright, man?
Okay.
Well, I mean, the thing is that animals are terrifying sometimes. I mean, I think it's ducks that basically, all male ducks are basically rapists.
Okay, let's get off this subject. I do not like where it's going.
Yes, it's very dark, and it gets even darker when you go even further. Just watch, scientifically accurate DuckTales, that'll explain everything.
I like scientifically accurate Sonic the Hedgehog. See ya, I'm off to destroy the world.
Now, see, I told you he was evil, but no. Oh, it's a dolphin. It's okay, you fool.
Nobody ever listens to Helldragon.
Come on, you missed a perfectly good opportunity there for so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Oh, shit, you're right. Yeah, you fucked it up, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I actually really like that movie. I understand why people weren't a fan of that, and I totally get that. That's fine, but that was kind of my real main exposure to A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I thought it was good. Like, I really like, who was the guy that played Zapfod? What was his name? Sam Rockwell, because he was in Iron Man 2, and Justin Hammer was the best fucking part of that movie.
Yes,
so I'm
he
actually
fucking was, yeah.
I'm a big Sam Rockwell fan, and the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster scene was fucking great. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to say, if you want to experience proper Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you've got to read the books. / I think listen to the radio show of it, because I think that's probably more accurate to the general tone and style of the series. But yeah, absolutely love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's, I think it's Life... Oh, I can't remember if it's Restaurant at the End of the Universe, or Life, the Universe and Everything. But one of them's got a bit where there is an award for the most gratuitous use of the word fuck. And this phrase is repeated time and time again, and it just gets funnier every time.
You see this, Rare? You see this kind of level design? This is why we have to talk about books in a video game Let's Play.
Oh, that looks safe.
Fuck this one particular area. We're gonna pour toxic waste here and nowhere else. We can't pollute the already polluted water.
Trying to think of a grunty rhyme that has to do with toxic waste, like, I'm not very good at coming up with rhymes on the fly, but if I could write it ahead of time.
This place is filled with toxic waste. I hope it will turn Banjo into paste.
A little bit wordy, but I'll accept it.
You wanted to rhyme with waste.
Okay, on this point I shall not budge. I filled it all with toxic sludge.
There we go, that's better.
Don't fuck with the Jedi Master, son.
This toxic waste smells of gas streaming from my toxic ass.
Okay.
It's a shit joke.
I think we've reached the zenith of uninteresting commentary here. Don't worry, 7 more minutes and the level will be over.
So how was everybody's day?
Well, I edited a bit more of Banjo-Kazooie, you know, the parts featuring levels that weren't complete and utterly bogus.
We could talk about shipping if you want, because there's a lot of shipping going on in this level, and I really do think I'm trying, guys, I really am. It's almost over. Although, if you guys really didn't want to talk about shipping, that's fine. You know, anything to help.
Well, you have mentioned your love of fanfics in the past Hour Dragons. I want to put it past...
I meant my love of using FedEx, that kind of shipping, obviously.
Or, you know, shipping across the sea on various ocean liners.
Yeah, that's true.
We're like Morecambe and Wise, but neither of us are funny.
Well, they have writers.
Richie, do you like shooting stars?
Are you talking about the TV series?
Yes, the TV series.
Then I don't think I ever watched it.
Oh, I was going to say, out of Helldragon and I, which of us is Vic and which of us is Bob?
Oh, I'd probably say you're Vic and Helldragon's Bob, if only because... I mean, this is kind of being slightly mean, but you're the slightly more famous one.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure about that, Richie?
Oh, I could have sworn you were actually talking about Helldragon, and I took credit for that, because honestly, you'd be telling the truth. It's never, Entom, star of Hellfire Commentaries. I like that guy. No, it's Entom, star of Hellfire Commentaries. There's that guy.
But THD is with him, and that makes it awesome!
Helldragon, people don't call you THD, they call you Helldragon.
Well, they're wrong now, I'm just saying, but it's alright.
This area is going to be great fun. Oh, Zeus, take me away.
I noticed that, like, the Jinjos you haven't caught are, like, asleep, like, but they're also grayed out, like, they've resigned themselves to their fate. Like, Banjo's never gonna save me. And then when they find you, they find the Jinjo, they're like, oh, it's a new day for Jinjo.
Everything's coming up, Jinjo. You'll notice as well from like time to time they use colour coding. Like we found the green Jinjo in the area of all the green toxic waste.
We found the blue Jinjo on the blue floor.
We found the red Jinjo in a pool of blood.
Kinda strange.
It's not mine, I promise. Alright, thank you, Jinjo. I appreciate it.
There's a much wider variety of Jinjo colours in the second game. There's white Jinjos, black Jinjos. The grey Jinjo family, which may have been the largest, is all killed when Grunty and her sisters drive over their house.
Wow.
Sisters?
Yep.
So, she has more than one sister in Brentilda?
Yeah, the family name is Winky Bunyan. Obviously, since that's what Brentilda's second name is.
Gosh, I wonder why Gruntilda became evil, because she probably got her ass kicked for having that name. Do witches kick each other's asses? Do they use magic to do that? I'm not sure. Although, personally, if I were to kick somebody's ass, I'd prefer the physical component of it. Using magic just feels like it's cheating.
And Gruntilda is chasing us all over this level with the popping and the magic and such. Anyway, the name of her sisters are Blobelda and Mingala.
So, basically they created a little witches' coven.
I suppose you could say so.
So basically they also just wanted to make a Shakespeare reference with the three witches from Macbeth.
I guess, but they make it all British, Mingala, Minger, and so on.
I think the sad part is when he said, Little Witch's Coven, I'm sitting there going, now which anime was that? And that's the pathetic part, I think.
The real scary part is that Flame was never the weeb of the group, it was Helldragon all along.
I barely know weeb shit. The only anime we're watching right now is One Punch Man, and that's like it.
So yeah, that's not weeb at all, is it?
Well, it's just one. If I was watching like 50, then maybe?
Oh my god! Oh god! Oh, we got all the notes in one go! Oh, Jesus Christ! Sorry, Vietnam flashbacks. Because, yeah, you know how this level has a point where you can die instantly? The engine room? Just imagine this on the N64 version as a child. You get 90 or so notes, and then you go to the engine room, and then you die.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
That's just mean. So basically, if ever you play Banjo on the N64, try and do that thing first, for the love of God.
Yeah. Say it with me. Jinjo! Only one remains, we can get the fuck out of here. It's actually the boss fight of the stage, I believe.
Oh, okay. So who's the boss fight?
You'll see. It's a bigger version of an enemy we've already encountered in this level.
It's a bigger Jinjo.
Don't worry, guys. Plenty stuff to talk about in the next level.
So is it a huge sea man?
No. You can keep guessing. We're going to see him in a second.
Is it a huge shark?
No.
Is it a huge bit of texture popping?
Maybe. But no. It is, in fact, a big one of these.
Ah, except he's not made out of TNT.
He's Dynamite. Use the Wonder Wing or use X.
I like how he actually called himself a boss, though. At least he's aware of his role in life.
And we're done here.
So what happens if you come in here without that many golden feathers?
Well, there's eggs scattered about, you can use those to take down the boxes.
Oh, okay, so basically it's either use the Wonder Wing or use eggs.
You can climb out, you're not like trapped in here or anything.
Well, yeah, but obviously you want to try and complete it in one fell swoop, otherwise you're not playing the game properly.
Did that without save states, it took nearly all day to record. Thank you, good night.
It is pretty awesome of Rusty Bucket Bay to be so creative that their boss had to be more shipping boxes.
Gotta even it out. I don't like leaving items on their own, but that egg was not part of the schedule, so it's just gonna have to stay there forever. One last little bit of trivia before we leave the level. Many players believe, and I'm just taking this from Banjo Wiki right now, many players believe the garage door behind the entrance pad was once meant to take the player to Quagmire, which is a hub area in Banjo-Tooie, via stop and swap, more of which in the extras video, since a similar door can be seen in the area. That's hella fucking neato. These guys have not played Tooie, so it means nothing to them.
Exactly.
Well, it means something to me, considering I just read your notes not that long ago.
I should never have given you those things.
Yes, you never should have done, especially considering now I know exactly what you've sent us for the extras.
Well, I told you not to click on the links and everything.
I did not click on the links or anything, but your notes spoiled it.
Son of a bitch!
Don't worry, I'm still unspoiled by it, so I have no idea what's going on, like usual.
Snape kills Dumbledore. Now you're very spoiled. Let's head on over to the last area of the game, and this has the biggest instance of having to travel a really long distance to unlock a level. You thought Mad Monster Mansion was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So have we basically got to go, like, from the end of Grunty's lair to the beginning and then back again or something?
You got it in one, my friend.
Oh, God.
Don't worry, not nearly as bad as it sounds.
It's fine, we've all been through periods where there are moments of horrendous backtracking, so this is hardly anything new.
I'm a fan of the Metroid franchise. You know, if I couldn't put up with backtracking, I couldn't call myself a fan. Love the sprites of the bees. Anyway, this is what we needed to do. This was empty for the whole game.
Oh, I see now.
I think that was originally meant to be the entrance to Fungus Forest, which, as I've mentioned before, was a level not included in the final game. Which makes sense, I guess, because it's like a foresty kind of area, and it's so far away from the entrance to Click Clock Wood.
Just like how you glossed over walking to that corner back there. If I just keep talking over it, nobody will point it out.
You know what, Helldragon? Next time I do a playthrough, I'll just keep all the ad revenue. How does that fucking sound?
Well, no, I'm gonna need that, so I'd like to advise you to not do that plan and instead resume with what we were originally doing. Thank you.
Okay.
See, this is negotiation, everyone. This is how you take care of business, you see.
That's more of a threat than actual peaceful negotiation, I think.
Well, it's practically the same thing, don't you think, Tom?
I guess so. These guys are stronger because they're darker in colour. That's how it works in video games.
Come on, Rare, you're doing the British version of the game. Put the U in favourite.
No, Richie.
Wait, she just said, like, Gruntilla likes to fly radio-controlled bats. That's not really a bad thing. That's kind of neat, actually.
That sounds awesome, yeah.
Are they, like, plastic, or are they actual bats? Because either way, that's fine.
They could be roboticized bats.
Grunty had a baby dragon as a pet. Oh my god.
Okay, now I'm actually jealous. You ever read, Jeremy Thatcher Dragon Hatcher? It's kind of the same thing.
No, I don't read nerd stuff.
What?
I'm just trying to get your goat, don't worry about it.
We're talking about dragons.
Well, just because you have dragon in the name doesn't mean I have to like you.
No, you like me for other reasons. I am pretty great.
And here we go, all the way back across the lair. You know where we are right now? We're adjacent to both Clanker's Cavern and Treasure Trove Cove. We have come quite the ways.
Indeed we have.
It's okay, guys, the party's almost over.
It's broken me.
The game has broken me.
I feel refreshed, though.
I was honestly kind of worried that this is where the playthrough would kind of dip a little bit, but it's going in accordance with the levels, the stuff that we're given, so, you know, yeah, you gotta work with what you have.
Exactly, I mean, it's the only thing you can do, to be perfectly honest.
I gave you all the trivia, what more do you want from me?
Commentate for us, monkey.
Where have you been? I've literally been waiting here the entire game.
Gruntilda, hide your power level, please. Gruesome Green kind of sounds like a high C flavor they would make around Halloween. I mean, I've heard tales of this Ecto Cooler stuff. I've yet to try it, but apparently it's like the nectar of the gods.
Helldragon is a soda fiend, in case you hadn't realised yet.
Well, I mean, I don't drink as much of it anymore, but I do have a weakness for cherry sodas, I admit.
Alright, let's pop on back, and then it's time for the final level of the game. Hooray!
Yay!
You're supposed to do a very downplayed yay at the end to complete this joke, Helldragon.
Yeah, but I prefer to twist expectations, as you know.
Yeah, I expect good stuff from you, and every single time, nothing.
That's just how life works, Tom. Better get used to it.
I forget sometimes that you are a year older and you have a year more of shit.
That's true. I'm older than you, and thus intensely wiser. That's basically how it works.
I want to say intensely.
Well, I don't know. I think I do everything pretty intense, if you know me well enough.
Yeah, you are pretty angry. It's hypnotic, is that sound effect. And no, I haven't run out of stuff to say. Why'd you ask? Just a quick scan to make sure there's no hidden Brentildas around here. They're kind of like hidden Mickeys, only a lot more trivia heavy. Quick look at the sign, and oh thank God I can sign off from this Rusty Bucket Bay part. Okay guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time when we take on the final level of the game, Click Clock Wood. See you then!